Hello, Tommy. Baz, John. I'm. There's only me here, so if you've got a question, you'll have to type it in, and I'll answer it. I can see you on the screen, but I've got no earworms. Duncan, Christina, Michael, everyone's waking up now. It's just a quickie. I've got some different lights. Just want to see how they work, if they work, and they seem to be working a bit better from your point of view. At least you can see more what I'm doing without it being bleached out. I can't see quite so much of what I'm doing. If I get any detailed work to do, I would obviously need to bring another light on above, which is quite easy to do. I've only got to, and that's the problem that we've had. It just bleaches it out when I put that one on. So reconfigured a few bits and pieces. So if anyone's got any questions, just wants to chat, I'm here. I'm happy to talk. I'm here anyway, so these are little commission I've got to turn some handles. Creonces, I'm led to believe they're called. They're through the hole that I've pre-drilled. There is a thread. The thread is then figure of 8 round the handle so that it can be held like so. And as it's cast out, because it's for an owl, you can let it slide out between your hand. It'll unwind. Apart from that, I know nothing. It's just except it's rubbishy old wood I've got here. They're supposed to being hardwood, so I've just cut up some home seasoned ash, which is, as you can see, just there, very woolly. I know it wasn't the best of blades, but so it's about inch and a half square. Bring it down to the round. It's cutting quite well, but like I say, it's so woolly. So I might be doing more of these spider on the ceiling broadcasts. I'm in the workshop. Easy enough to turn the computer. Excuse me, on. Who sells those long tool rests, Gav? No one. You have a word with your friendly blacksmith, or you've got a mate that can weld, and you get him to weld something up. Let me just finish this one. These are 16mm or 5/8 posts on this little lathe. So on the top of that, I've got some inch deep by 3/8 thick steel. And this one's 14 inches long, so it tucks in either end. It gives me the full length of the lathe. I can only just about get 12 inches on here with a drive in, so it gives me a chance to do dibbers and anything long, and it's ideal for this sort of thing. put a little 6-inch one on there, you're forever moving it to be in the right place. And the 9-inch one I did have decided to come unbrazed, so I've got this one, so I thought I'll use it. So all I'm using here, let me turn that off. I've drawn the length of the handle, just nicked it so that the pencil sits in there, can find its own place. It's a quick and easy method of marking what you're doing, and then it's just a matter of being able to see what I'm doing and going along. So you can get tool rests made, welded up, whatever size you want. For my pole wood, the big lathe, I've got a big 18-inch one made up, welded up in stainless, only because I could. It's very useful for the bigger bowls, platters that I tend to do, because it means I can get a little bit further away. There's a 30mm post on the pole wood, so I've got 30mm bar on the top. That works exceptionally well. But just to make it a little bit different, this 30mm bar, top and bottom, that's 6 inches, that is 12 inches, so it's off-centered, so I can work back and front as I've got reverse on it. So that won't bend, that won't break. A really useful piece of equipment in my armory. Should we say it works for me? It does make life a lot easier. You can buy the modular ones from Axminster. Robert Sorby, I think, do them. One or two places do them. Problem I've found with those in the past is that if you're not careful, particularly if you're using the end of the tool rest, because you need to be further away. Let me put that back on there so you can see. They can twist and unwind on the end where they're screwed in, even though I think some of them have got a grub screw on. I've not been overly impressed by them. Several people swear by them. I'm sorry, I don't. I swear at them. I made the decision several years ago that I might as well set myself up. You've only got to do it once. I had no intention of changing the pole wood. That's going to see me out now. I've got two of these little Axminster lathes. Either one or both of them go out with me when I do a demonstration, when I do a craft fair, Used to take them to club, still take them to club occasionally if there's more than 3 of us going to be demonstrating, so that we can make a mess. So they're quite useful. So with that in mind, set up. It's an expense at the time, but I think it was an expense worthwhile, having the tool rest welded up. And it's surprising how many people now say, where did you get them from? Like Gav has just said, where did you get them from? And you must have got a metal worker local to you that would knock one up, either for a bowl or for a small payment. It doesn't take them long to weld them up. So if you regularly do bigger things, might be worth something investing in. I was fortunate that the 30mm one is stainless steel. I didn't ask for stainless, I just said anything you've got that's 30mm. And you come back, well, I got stainless steel. Okay, that'll do. Nice bit of ripple across there. Looks like there was a branch in the end. This is all bits that have been cut or fallen down at the museum. No good for anything else, so I'll just go along and grab them, make sure no one wants them, season them, and run them through the bandsaw. So welcome to all of you in there. Steve, I think you've just emailed me. Steve Scott. If it is you, yes, that's okay. I was going to reply, can you give me a time? So all I'm doing this morning is just wasting a bit of time, but as I'm wasting time, I'm putting it out there for you guys to get together. You can have a chat. A little bit less time today because I'm actually earworming for Andy Heath, who's on at 1 o'clock. Tommy says he's working. He hoped to have my earbuds in. I don't do earbuds. I find anything that I put in my ears affects my ears. It makes them itch. So I'll go the whole hog over the ear cans. Thanks, Steve. I thought it might have been you. I quickly saw it before I came out. I thought, well, I'll have plenty of time, lunchtime. So you want 2 of each grit? They come in metre lengths. small bit of Formica. That's all I've got left. You can use wire. Problem with wire is if you're not careful, you'll burn it through, and unless you've got it on a handle, it is very dangerous. So I wouldn't suggest using it. We use wire, cheese wire, guitar wire when we do the kids down at the museum, because they like to hold the handles. We make sure there's always a handle on there, so we're 100% safe in that aspect. But when I'm on my own, it's a lot easier to just grab a piece of Formica. And they were samples that I acquired. They're only about 5 by 3.5. But they're ideal for what we want in burning. John's just put that question on there. I've only got a story stick, John, because this little commission is 100 pieces, and I don't fancy keep measuring out 100 pieces each time when I can do a stick. But having said that, this is the second 100 batch. So with that amount to do, yes, I will make up a story stick. I did when I had a commission for some table legs. It was a lot easier to mark something up than to keep measuring it. I can say the beauty of the story stick is you can either have a slightly thicker piece of timber. This is just an offcut of mahogany, but if that's a 1/4 inch thick, rather than cut the little V's in there, you can stick a nail or a pin in there and just hold it on and scratch it. So there's many ways of doing it. This one works for me. So unless you're doing a lot, John, I don't want that. Hide that. There's 11 of you chatting away, so looks like I've done something useful this morning. There's just a bit of 80 grit on there, just to run it down, and then I'll go over it with 120. And when I've got about 20 done, I will go over them with mineral oil. Don't want anything that sticks and is lumpy. Finishing oil's okay. If you've got a decent pot and a customer wants to pay for it, but mineral oil is a lot cheaper. In actual fact, my mineral oil is only baby oil, so it smells nice when I'm putting it on. It's a nice bit of grain on there. You can just see it down this end. Nice bit of character. It's a good mix of everything I've got for this, as it's got to be hardwoods. So this looks like a bit of mahogany. Might be sapele. Balance it on the two pimples, 2 points. I can spin it, I know that's accurate, and I can lock it up on the stab center in the drive, and I've got a ring center on the tailstock end to stop it splitting. Welcome to anyone that's just stopped by. This is just an ad hoc spider on the ceiling. You might as well watch what I'm doing. I quite often talk to myself, so it's not a lot of difference. Okay, Gerard, hang on a second. I'll explain what a story stick is. Let me finish this and get this round. Right. Bring it up so you can see it. I've got to make 100 of these. So rather than measure 1/2 inch in, 1/4 in, 2.5 inches in, 2 inches, exactly the same the other side. If I make up an idiot's guide to what I need with the marks on, so that piece of timber is the actual length of the handle. These little nicks, I've just put a triangular file. That's not the triangular one, I've got a small triangular saw file that just mark it big enough so that the pencil lead just sits in it. You can see it catches as it slides past, so I just touch it, and I can do that in a matter of seconds, whereas I've got to stop the wood, get the tape measure out, put it on, mark it all up, and you know what happens, you put the tape on, you turn your back, and it flies off. Then you've got to try it from the other end, and I'm never so good that way. So the easiest thing is just to make up your story stick, hold it up against the end, pencil in, you can just about see the pencil mark on there. It's that quick. It's a time saver, so let's use it. Oh, looks like the daughter's up at last. First sign of madness, second sign is getting an answer. Yes, Chris, I know. I get the right answer if I talk to myself. Most of the time. Not guaranteed, but... So 3 tools I can do this with. Spindle roughing gouge to get it down. I use a sort of a Bedan. It's not really, it's a wide, very wide parting tool. It's a 10mm parting tool, but it works. Small parting tool is too small to get the dividers in, so I'll do this do it this way. It's what works for you, not what you've got to do. It's what works for you. Old story, you get 10 turners and you ask them to do exactly the same job, and 10 turners will do it exactly differently to each other. Morning, Douglas. I see you just crept in. Peter's in. Well, this isn't going to be a permanent fixture. This is just, but I'm down in the workshop, so I needed to test out some new lights I've got up. The lights work for you that side watching me, but they're not brilliant for me looking at me and what I'm doing. I might have to have a little bit of a rethink as well. But, yeah, the third tool was a spindle gouge. So use the roughing gouge on its side as a skew. Might be a little bit bigger than some of you have got. This is an 1.25" one, but certainly eats the wood, and it works for me. Sharpened at about 45 degrees, 45 degrees, so that you can use it as a skew. I can run down the side there using it as a skew if necessary. A lot of roughing gouges are made or are ground quite steep, and they can basically only use them for roughing out in that case, whereas that one I can rough out, use it as a skew. Again, it's what you get used to using. Like he said, there are like a window. Yeah, I'm just filling in. I'm in the workshop, so I might as well put it on. And through putting it on, I've got 15 of you guys watching me. Thank you very much. These are handles for a Falconer. Let me just sand this up to 120. I'll take it off and I can show you what they are in a little bit more detail. But, that's a finished one. It's only been oiled. That's all the difference is. There's a hole through the middle, all the way through. So what the Falconer does, apparently, is he threads a cord through, knots it, and measures off about 10 meters. Yeah. And then figure of weight winds it round the handle so that he can hold it as he's casting out the lure for the owls and the birds of prey, and he can let it unwind through his hand. Usually he's got the cord through the finger or whatever, but it'll run off either end. So that's what they are. I've only got the commission to make them. I've not got the commission to drive them, but apparently that's how they work. So So that was a bit of mahogany. This looks like it's going to be a bit of sweet chestnut. Looking at the colour, don't think it's elm. Don't always know what wood I get. Right, using the skew on its, the spindle roughing out on its side now, I can use it as a skew. Using one wing, finger against the tool rest, job's a good one. I will try and answer the questions as I see them. Might be a little bit out because I'm got no earworm. It's just me talking to myself. No, I'm talking to you guys now. Yeah, I know it's an earlier one. I'm earworming for Andy lunchtime, and I needed to get some of these done. I also needed to check out the couple of new lights that I put up, which make it a lot easier for you guys to see, but don't make it very easy for me. Might have to go down and have another look, see if I can find something that's not quite so bright, that shows up a little bit of what I'm doing. So Gerard, if I try one, Keith, we'll have 50 done. Yeah, quite possible, but I'm not racing. I mean, I could do these a lot quicker if I really wanted to. Do I really want to? No, I want to enjoy my wood turning. It's a hobby, pastime, relaxation. This is just a bonus. That means I can, once I get paid for these, I can perhaps invest in another camera or something. Next thing I think will be a Stream Deck, so I don't have to wake up the mouse to change the cameras. I can just lean over and tap the button and the cameras will change automatically. I think it gives me a chance to zoom in as well. There's so many things that I could possibly do. Considering I only started this in November with nothing, I'm quite pleased how things have happened. I wish I'd have started now at the beginning of lockdown 12 months ago. Particularly as it seems to be bringing enjoyment to you guys out there. And they say you start to speak to yourself, start a madness. Well, you starting to talk to yourself, Gerard. I've been talking to myself for ages. Like I say, it's the one way I guarantee I can get the right answer. Well, the right answer to me might not be the right answer to anybody else, but So what have I got in here? You can just about see that. That's my hood for my dust extractor. I'll say dust extractor fairly loosely. I've got a 4-inch hydroponics fan inline unit that is sucking this out to the great outdoors and just dissipating it down the back of my workshop. Well, I can't be down the back of my workshop and inside, so it's not affecting me. And at the moment, the neighbours haven't moaned, so it will stop like it is. But, you can't hear it because of the headset that I've got on, which is useful. So that's what's just pulling the dust away. So another relatively straight-grained piece of ash until you look at the side and you think, well, I'm not quite sure that tree grows. So what have I done to get to this position? Before putting it on there lathe, I've marked the centre with a pencil, both ends, and just popped it with a punch so that I've got something to locate it by. So doing that, I can locate it on the pins of the steb and the revolting's tailstock and spin it, and I know that's right, so I can then tighten it up. So I'm just making life easier. It's a multi-step procedure I use. I cut them all first, I drill them, I mark up the ends and pop them, and then I turn them. I know you can use your phone as a stream deck. But that's technology which I don't understand. Peter, I've got 100 to do this batch. So that's why I've decided that I'll share it with you guys to see how I work. We all work different. You might take something from this. Only difference for me is that I would normally have the radio on. Well, I can't have the radio on as I think this is going to YouTube. I'm not actually sure. It's certainly going out on StreamYard. StreamYard don't like. It's going to be a slightly thinner one for the feel of it. They don't like music on there that you haven't paid for. So that's better. Peter, you on the tubes? Oh, well, that's good. It's going through then. I didn't know whether I'd actually set it up or not. It was a spur of the moment thing to set up. I thought, I've got nothing to lose. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I've not lost anything. It's handy to know that I can just go live So I will probably be doing a few more of these at unspecified times, particularly when there's no one else on. Yep, thanks Chris as well. He's telling me I'm on YouTube. That's good. Thanks, John. Like I say, I'm not guaranteeing when there'll be. It'll be, oh, I'm down there, I've got an hour to waste. See if anyone else is awake. Hi, Lewis. Thanks for stopping by. It's just me wussing around in the workshop, answering a few questions, showing a few tricks that I use. So there's no worms today, it's me, solely. So I'm trying to catch the questions as they come in, comments as they come in, and answer them best I can. If I miss one, sorry, put it in the second time or a third time. I will catch it. Depends how quick the chat runs. It seems to jump a bit. I'm on StreamYard for obvious reasons. And the 12 of you watching currently can make it jump quite quick at times. good way of getting odd bits of mahogany sapele used up. I don't like turning the stuff at the best of times. I find mahogany very dusty, and most of the mahogany family is very dusty. I have to invest in another bit of Formica soon. Either that, I'm going to be using my thumbnail. So before I oil these, I will put on I've got a small chuck with a 3-inch sanding pad on it, and just sand up the ends where the marks are that I've made on there to find the centre. So I'll just rub them off, and it's easier to do it on a pad, as there's it's usually 20 a time to do. So this is going to be the last one this morning, guys. Something else to do before Andy goes live at 1. So if you've got any questions, drop them in. I will do my utmost to see them and answer them. Hope you've all subscribed to my channel. If not, would you? Need to see if I can build that a fraction. Yeah, I am, Chris. I'm keeping count. Not as I do them, but as I put them in the box. These have all got to be sent down the other end of the country. So I've got 85 in the box out of 100. So just need to do 15. So that's 3, 5. So that'll be 10 today I've done. So I've got another 5 to do, which could well be tomorrow, unless I get in here this afternoon and do a few after Andy finishes. Thanks, Gav, unless you've escaped. Welcome back, Gerard. I'm just doing this one, and then I'm jacking it in. I've got to go and find something to eat. I've got a couple of jobs to do before I worm for Andy at 1 o'clock. So I'm hoping you guys are going to come over and see us then. I don't know what Andy's doing. I know it's not what he was going to do because he's had a little technical issue, like he broke one bit. So he didn't think he could face the barrage of criticism online, since this is only his third live that he's done. He's done a lot of turning in front of people. Plus he was a teacher, so it's not a problem. And he's one of those guys that if I was desperate for someone at club to demo on the floor, yeah, I'll come out there. I don't mind being part of a group. So he would always help me out. Plus, his other club that he belongs to, he does the same sort of thing down there when there's a mass of them. We've got 3 small lathes like this at club so that we can put them on the floor, and rather than one big demo, we have 3 at least small demos running, which makes life easier. And it seems to be that is what our members want, rather than sitting there all day watching one big demo. A lot of them only stop on the morning, so they're quite happy to come in and watch 3 different turners doing 3 different things. Oh God, look, it's that ugly one. Yeah, you can't see so much of me behind now because I've got I put a new light at the back there. It's better for you guys seeing. It's given me better lighting, but I just need something shining down on the work so that I can actually see what I'm doing a bit easier. People are too critical of other people. Say what you like about me, Douglas, but I know where you're coming from. I've run my own business for 30 odd years before I retired. I've never been out at work for a day. I can drop into most things and do most things, even if I do need showing. It's the technology that's stuffing me. So, going back to what I was saying, I think where Douglas is coming from, yeah, it's nice to see other way people do things. And as I said earlier on, you give 10 turners the same piece of wood, same size piece of wood, and say to them, right, do that, and they'll all do it basically different. I've got 1 or 2 that are much the same thinking as what I do, because I've taught Scott what he knows. So he works more or less the same as what I do. More or less grinds his tools the same as what I do. He's tweaked 1 or 2 of them. He's also got the belt sharpener, whereas I still run CBN. So apart from that, we're all good. So I'm going to disappear and say thank you very much for stopping by and listening to me waffle on. And I will be doing this again. I've just done, it's like practice. Yes, Douglas, it is practice basically, because going back to what I first started showing, when I first did a live back before Christmas, thanks Steve, thanks Peter, I did these Christmas decorations. Well, that one's actually a witch, but I quite often I'll knock out 300-400 of them unfinished. This is just pine, deal, silver birch, anything that's soft, just cut, sanded to 120, and then sell them for the kids at Christmas. Or the witches and wizards went out around the village last year. I think there was 100 went out for the kids to paint and decorate for Halloween. It's something to do. It's something I put back into the woodworking, wood turning fraternity, Yes, it is exceptionally good practice. A small piece, I think I've used them all, but you imagine that is 1.25 inches square by 3.5, 4 inches long, and that's a practice piece, and it's only deal. And if I tell you, most of that softwood that I used for those was an old pallet or pallets or bearers from the builders merchants. They didn't cost me anything apart from cutting them up, and I'd worked it about right on the big stuff there, that most of it was 3-inch square, so quarter it all and chop it through the bandsaw. I can get 50 out of a length quite easily. 3 projects in 3 minutes. Not quite, Steve, but a couple of minutes each. Gerard, yes, I'm thinking either next week. It's hanging up behind me. I keep banging my head on it. It's thinking of what to do, but I'm always happy to demo something that you guys are interested in. There's a couple of you have asked about the donut, the jam chuck, whatever you want to call it. So I will certainly be doing something on that. Yeah, I'll do a small bit. It's easier. Plus I haven't got that many big lumps of wood at the moment. I've used most of them. And the big lump that I've got down there is going to be too much off center to spin it up. So anyway, guys, it's 11:30. I'm going to find something to eat, get a cup of coffee to drink. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and keeping me company. Like I say, these will just happen. If you've liked and subscribed, or if you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell every time I do one of these, it should give you notice. But knowing how speedy YouTube is at the moment, I might have already done half an hour. Is it worth making a steady rest, Douglas? Can you elaborate, please? A steady rest. Not sure quite what you mean. All my rests are steady. They don't move at all. You've lost me on that one. I'm sorry, Douglas, but come back with a little bit more information. For turn. Right. Okay, I'm with you now. Yes, it would be if you're turning tool vases. What do you classify as tool vases? I would quite happily, in the polewood, turn with a foot hanging out the chuck without too much of an issue. I can cup my hand round the back of the wood and use that as a moving steady. On tool stuff, if you're thinking of, shall we say, 12 inches tall, you're probably looking at 4 to 5 inches diameter. So 4 to 5 inches diameter 12 inches long hanging out of a decent chuck or decent jaws, and I use the gripper jaws for anything like that. Axminster make the gripper jaws. So I thought I'd got some out. I haven't, but they're like a threaded jaw on the, yeah, this one's a very small one, but the gripper jaws, under the camera, they've got a thread on the, for argument's sake, a thread on the outside and a corresponding thread on the inside. They're not threads, they're just parallel grooves. Axminster do one that will hold a 4-inch blank 4-inch spigot. So with a 4-inch spigot on 4-inch timber, 5-inch timber, hanging out 12 inches, no problem whatsoever. I have a B&Q junk lathe that I'm looking at, hollow forms, about 12 to 14 inches long. Oh. I doubt whether you would be doing the bearings any good, Douglas. They are quite small on those. They're only a 1.25 inch bearing, I believe. Are you 1/8 inch or 3/4 16 headstock thread? 12 to 14 inches is asking a lot for a B&Q lathe. The bearings on the polewood are, the nose one is 3 inches diameter, and the one at the other end of the shaft is 2.5 inches diameter. So they are massive bearings. 3/4 16. Okay, Douglas. I would go no more than 9 inches long out of there, unless you can support the end. So a 9-inch hollow form vase would be the maximum that I would want to risk it with. You haven't got a lot of metal on a 3/4 16 inch to balance that amount of wood on. I've seen them bend. I've actually replaced an 1.8 inch shaft because it had bent, because someone had hung too much on it. So I think until such times as you can afford to invest in a more man lathe, stick to sort of 9 inches. Thanks, Chris. I try and tell it as it is. There's no point in me baffling and bluffing around and saying, yes, things can be done, yes, you can do that, and me going off air and thinking, oh God, that ain't going to be dangerous. I wish I hadn't have said that. A steady rest is going, you're thinking of going back to Douglas, you're thinking of a steady rest, which is basically 3 or 4 rollerblade wheels jamming up against the turning. If you get too much pressure against the wheels will mark the outside. And you would also want an exceptionally strong unit to hold them. The steady rest that you're toying with, thinking of, is basically to stop slight deflection. stop the vibration. Doesn't want a lot of vibration before you can get you can put a thread up something. So I think personally, Douglas, I wouldn't bother with that sort of size until you can afford to have a stronger, bigger, heavier lathe, because I think you're going to end up with problems. My personal opinion, that is. It's not to say don't do it, it's to say that's what I would suggest, but you know, we're all different. If you feel brave enough and you want to go for it, mate. But I certainly wouldn't. Design and Make, hello, and it's going to be goodbye because I'm just about to hit the end of broadcast. It was only just a spider on the ceiling job this morning. I was out here talking to myself and I wanted to just make sure that the technology works. I'm happy with the picture of me and the lighting of me, but I'm still not over happy because I can't see what I'm doing on the lathe as well as I ought to be able to. So I've got a couple of small bits and pieces I can do. I will sit and think about them and carry on another day. Anyway, you can if you can hang on for a little while, Design and Make. Is that Mike? I can't remember. Lousy with names unless there's a name there. You've got Andy Heath's on at 1 o'clock. I'm worming for him, so I'm going to go and find something to eat, make myself a sandwich, get myself organised before he comes on. And I've got a couple of little jobs to do indoors as well. Otherwise, management will start moaning. So thank you, guys. I will be doing this again. Like I say, unsure when. But if you've subscribed and liked and you've hit the bell, you should, come on, mouse, wake up, you should be notified that I'm going live. So cheers, guys. Bye, and thank you very much.